Okay. I was trying to think about the right metaphor to open up today. And since we're post-lunch, I think I'll go with this. For the people that I road tested this on in Omaha, you still have to laugh. If you're in this stock today, you are either buying domains and getting Ting for free or buying Ting and getting domains for free. And so if that's the lunch and the dessert, I'm that like bread with the olive oil that you get at the beginning. You're not sure if you want it. It depends on if it's what kind of diet you're in at the time. So I know my place. I'm here at the end. I'm going to try to be brief, but I did want to open with a couple kind of important things that I know a few of you have been following Wavelo closely are worried about and thinking about. The first thing is the amount of dollars needed to get Wavelo to a point where we're generating cash. That's $0, so we'll do that this year in 2023. We've heard all of your feedback into Elliot, into me, as well as into me directly for the few of us that have met. We can't invest in two growth businesses at once, so we won't. So most important point is we don't expect to need to put any more capital from TCX down into Wavelo. We'll generate cash now. I won't tell you how fast I'm going to grow. That's always challenging. There's a trade-off between measured growth and profitability and growth at all costs. But we'll go in one direction and it'll be, for all intents and purposes, free for you going forward. The second thing is, as we get on the other side of migrations, I'll talk about where we are with those in a bit. We'll generate 25 million in revenue this year, north of 25 million. We expect that to continue to follow suit as we migrate customers. The third thing is 2 to 4 million in adjusted EBITDA with positive cash flow. In the last 5 to 8 years in software, there has been a wild disconnect, particularly in the public and private markets, awarding growth at all costs, sometimes 100 times NTM revenue, which is about as absurd as I've ever seen. And now there's a flight to quality in the market. Luckily, we are building this business inside of Two Cows and have thought about efficiency. I view this as a beautiful constraint to be building a software business here, and remind my management team of that very, very often as we think about spend versus growth and efficiency. So 3 big things up front: $0 of new investment, 25 million in revenue, and 2 to 4 million in adjusted EBITDA with positive cash flow. So I'm going to raise up for a second and talk about why Wavelo, why now, what's going on in telecom, and why would we build this business today. The first thing is 5G is growing up. It's going from being an adolescent to an adult. 1 billion humans on 5G globally, and yet heading towards 3.3 billion in 2026. So kind of a ramp there as this continues to be pervasive throughout the world. The problem is that operators aren't seeing their return on their investment. European telecom CEO got on stage at Mobile World this year and said there is no business case for 6G. Full stop. And a lot of it has to do with what Ellie was talking about with the unlimited price coming, if you were to normalize for currency and region, below $40, right? And so if you kind of narrow in on that $10, $25 range, it's hard to recoup your investment over time. The problem is only getting worse. And then if you look at traffic to revenue forecast towards 2027, traffic growth up 200%, revenue only up 14%, ARPU declining by 7.5%. We would posit at Wavelo that one of the reasons for this is that no one has built software for now and for the futures. We are all still using software from copper and 3G in previous eras, and there is a way to get value out of the network that hasn't yet been realized, and it's one of the big reasons why we're building Wavelo. We think it acts as a tailwind for us. The second thing is, and for some of us that have taken walks in parks and talked about private networks, you know me to be a private 5G skeptic. I've watched lots of operators build products to monetize excess network capacity and not have product market fit. The 2 big problems with private networks right now are, one, the customer has no idea how to buy it. They aren't sure if it's a managed service or whether somebody else is going to manage it for them, or whether their IT team needs to pick it up. The second thing is most of the networks and software providers aren't able to actually deliver the value prop of what the promise of private networks are. So something like being able to bill and provision for the 6 hours a ship is in a harbor, that doesn't really exist today unless you go with a modern platform that kind of treats billing and provisioning as truly modular. So we think, there's lots of speculation, there's lots of hype. Verizon and AT&T backed off in their latest earnings remarks. Dish is still full steam ahead because they're building a brand new network and they believe it's purpose built for stuff like this. And we think when you couple that with great software, we can kind of help in this arena in the future. If you take nothing away from my opening remarks here, please take this slide away. Elliot, as sometimes he does, gives away a slide earlier in the presentation, but cloud transformation in telecom, particularly in the OSS BSS space, is sub 10%, around 5%. This is a great graph from Houlihan Lokey. It shows that CSPs globally are going to invest $1 billion in cloud transformation over the next 3 to 5 years. To put that into perspective, that's 38 to 44% of their cloud transformation, but their network transformation budgets. Just for that, just to be cloud with all of the other capital that would go into the network is tremendous. This is, the time is now for this cloud transformation. It's becoming a burning platform. And it's the reason why switching, which has been really, really hard for 15 years, is now going to get easier in the coming 5 years. If you were on an incumbent on-prem platform today, moving from that platform to a cloud version with 1/16 of the features is just as hard, if not harder, than moving to Wavelo. And so we think this moment, which has been really hard, and would have been really hard to launch this business 10 years ago, is changing and will change over the next 5 years. There's a bit of comments around fixed wireless. So we're seeing, some fixed wireless traction. Verizon had the best quarter they've had in their broadband group in a decade. That they kind of bundle Fios and fixed wireless together. But if you unpack that, 90% of the net adds were with fixed wireless. Now, 70% of those net adds were bundled with a smartphone. So TBD on whether this is subsidized growth or not. But T-Mobile and other players are seeing some fixed wireless traction. But I agree with Elliot's frame about the kind of percentages of how the markets are going to shape up. T-Mobile has said publicly they'd be great, super happy if a total of 7 million fixed wireless subs were kind of where they stopped. But what's important for Wavelo here, and what's important for all of you, is that you get to place both of those bets at once, right? So if Wavelo does business with a fixed wireless provider, you get kind of a piece of that action as well, right? And so we think that as more human beings are connected, that the ways in which telecoms connect those folks need to be modular, need to be flexible. Today, if you have a kind of one telecom business and you launch a new one, so you're going from cable to fixed wireless, or from mobile to fixed wireless, or fiber to fixed wireless, you are essentially bringing on a whole nother set of systems and a whole nother team. It's tremendously inefficient. So we think that billing and provisioning across all of these network types, all of these customer types, is the key to getting to a platform that's flexible enough for the future. To build on that point, cable cos are launching mobile. You heard Elliot talk about it a few times. We're seeing Xfinity Mobile have back-to-back record quarters and still only penetrating about 10% of their cable base. If you go and pick any of these providers, when they've launched mobile, they're launching it on an entirely different platform than their fixed platform, with a mobile team and a bunch of other systems, and at some point has to come back to a head. For any of you that have tried some of these products, you'll notice that when you go to have billing interactions, it feels like a different company, even though it says the kind of brand logo on your bill. And oftentimes you have telecom executives winning one bill initiatives for redesigning the bill to try to make it look like it's the same thing. But at some point, as an industry, we have to solve this problem. It's inevitable that we have to solve it. And so this is internally, I say, why not us, and how we're thinking about Wavelo for the future. I tried to figure out what was the most PC word to put on here, so I chose abysmal. Customer satisfaction in this particular part of telecom, so operators buying OSS BSS software, is abysmal. This is a quote from one of the global telecom CTOs who I love and find to be one of the smartest people in the industry. And I asked him in Barcelona this year, why a couple of years ago did you go with the one of the incumbent providers? Like, better. Why would you do this? And he said, and I quote, because there was nothing else, and we started trying to get off of it before the ink was even dry on the contract. And I told the SVP of sales that to his face. Right? I'm spinning up a Tiger team to get off of your stuff because I'm stuck with it. That is the level of customer dissatisfaction in this space. And to dovetail on some of the TAM pieces, we just have to be customer aligned and care about our customers to win in this going forward. You've heard a couple different folks, Dave, Elliot, say everything is just billing and provisioning. We believe that to be true. It's one of the reasons why Wavelo makes sense in the Two Cows family, and we have to just be phenomenal at making that statement true. This is the only beyond 2023 statement I will make today, and I won't come back to it for a couple of years. There's a lot of hype around generative AI and large language models. I was fortunate enough to be working on some of this stuff before it was cool, pre-crypto revolution. And one of the things that's true when I talk to AI leaders trying to bring this technology into telecom is they have two really big pain points. The first is they can automate and augment the conversations out the wazoo. There's no problem with that. The tech's good enough. But the minute they need to take action and change a customer's bill, give them a discount, give them a new product, they have to hit a billing system from 25 years ago. And it breaks. And that's why you have that moment that we've all had with chatbots where it hands off to a human and they're swiveling between different panes of glass. That's because the billing system can't answer the call from the language model. So fundamentally building better software for that solves that problem. Full stop, just cloud native event-driven software, that problem goes away. The second long-term problem, which is one that will plague healthcare and telecom and government, which are the three industries that typically get this new tech last and have the biggest, have hardest time getting value out of it, is getting the data out of a system of record. And one of the things that's beautiful about building Wavelo as an event-driven system is it acts as a heartbeat. It's just constantly pulsing and emitting events of how the telecoms operate. It's John paid his bill, John's moving, John needs a new SIM. It's constantly happening. So in the future, one of the things we'll be able to do is put a large language model on top of an event-driven system and build a continuous learning loop that doesn't take all the manual effort to get the data out of the system of record. That sounds really complex and esoteric right now, but it's kind of the key to unlock the value in telecom. We're not even pricing this in today into what we're selling. We think this is an Easter egg for our customers 3-4 years from now as this comes into the market. So quick summary of this section: headwinds, tailwinds. On the headwind side, our biggest headwind is kind of any software company's headwind right now. The broader macroeconomic environment. The biggest piece is we're hearing folks say, listen, we love you guys. This is great. We want to keep going through the biz dev cycles, but I just want to give you the heads up. We've got kind of more procurement scrutiny than we've ever had, particularly on software as a service purchases. So it might take an extra quarter or two, but we want to keep going. So we're not seeing interest wane, but we are getting the heads up that procurement is gonna make them jump through a little bit more hoops, which means we're jumping with them. So that's the biggest headwind. On the tailwind side, to summarize the last couple slides, cloud is turning this into a burning platform. The second is network ROI. There is a kind of renewed obsession out of getting value out of your network. The third is competition is picking up and you need partners that are going to help you compete in a different way. And the fourth is there's going to be more switching in telecom than in the last decade with the economy. And so, telecom operators are going to trade customers and need to be able to get kind of marketing offers and be nimble in the market much faster. So we think, and I'll wrap this part of the presentation up here and talk more about how we're performing right now, but we think this model for OSS BSS, software as a service, subscriber economics, is fundamentally better. For those that aren't close to the space, the way a typical OSS BSS interaction would have worked over the last 20 years is Lorenz runs a telecom and I say, what do you want? And he gives me a laundry list of stuff and then I build to those specs. And then now I'm the only mechanic that can fix the car, and I line up a list, a big long line of professional services behind me. Bless you. And then I just kind of milk the account for professional services revenue. There's lots of reasons why that's wrong. I don't have a lot of time today to explain why that's wrong, but we think being customer aligned, being SaaS focused, when a customer wins, we win, is more efficient, it's better customer experience, it's reliable and repeatable over time. So quick view on first quarter earnings and then quarter over quarter, year over year. So 7.3 million in revenue, up quarter over quarter, and year over year. Gross margin following suit, and then adjusted EBITDA up quarter over quarter, but down year over year. Largely driven, as I said in the earnings remarks, 2 non-cash items: the Dish contract unwinding and lower labor capitalization rate. The most important thing about Q1 is understanding that we are nearly done. We are expected to be done middle of the year with the Dish wireless boost migration, and that's really what drives revenue growth. So what you have here is Q1 22 through Q1 23, and then you've got kind of total subscribers under management and then subscriber growth rate quarter over quarter. You see up until Q3 of 22, we had under right at 1 million or under 1 million subscribers. You see that double in Q4 of 22 to 2 million subscribers. You see that more than double again in Q1 of 23 with 4.2 million subscribers. And then as we sit here today, even after closing the quarter, we're north of 6 million subscribers. So you're seeing this ramp really, really fast. This migration took a while to get going. We were doing lots of work for Dish, lots of one-time work to get them up and running. But once it got going, you're seeing this just rapid pace. We're migrating hundreds of thousands of subscribers a week and sometimes in a single evening. This is the fastest telecom migration I've seen in my entire career. And it's built the muscle for future, because the two most important things are network integrations and customer migrations in this business. So we got to be great at both of those things. And we expect this to continue to ramp and be kind of wrapped here at the middle of the year. My slide earlier about we think this is a better business being customer aligned, being kind of focused on per subscriber economics and a more traditional SaaS model. I wanted to give you kind of a view of Q1 revenue composition. So in purple, we've got platform revenues. That's the recurring sticky revenue that a couple folks in the back were excited about. And the second thing is in pink, the professional services revenue. We don't expect a world where we will have kind of zero professional services revenue in a year, but we do want a composition like this. And if you were to look at some of the incumbents, you would see a completely different revenue mix composition. You would see 3 times professional services revenue to licensing revenue. And even inside the licensing revenue, that's a licensing model from the 90s that also kind of acts as a wedge for more professional services. The 2 places where you might see us take on professional services revenue are in the beginning of a contract, where we start to do some early integrations, and then later, 4 or 5, 6 years later, where their business is changing and they're asking for a bit of work to kind of keep up with their business. So expect that to kind of ebb and flow, but we want that to be around this mix going forward. The next 2 slides are a bit accounting, but I wanted to unpack them a little bit. Elliot and I joked before about me doing accounting slides. So this is GAAP revenue and the contract asset unwinding. So you've got Q1 22 through Q4 of 23. So to unpack this a little bit, in yellow, you've got the contract asset. In pink, you've got professional services, and in purple, you've got platform revenues. So the way these contracts act is they kind of act over the life of the period of the term of the contract. And in the early years, the contract asset acts as kind of accretive to revenue, positive to revenue, or later, my favorite term in all of accounting, contra revenue, in the later years. And so you kind of see that, Q1 helping with the GAAP revenue as you get down to kind of Q4 22 and into 23, you see that acting as contra revenue. So this is a bit muddy in the results year over year, but the important piece is if you focus on Q4 of 22 and Q1 of 23, the purple kind of graph, and you see that grow proportionally, the toggle back and forth there, proportionally with subscribers going up. This, as we've said in the remarks a few times, this will kind of continue to unwind as the contract comes up for renewal in Q3 of 24. And I believe, Dave, it's 5.3 million left to unwind. So 5.3 million left to unwind. And we saw 2.2 million of that kind of unwind in Q1 of this year. All right. So last accounting stuff. You asked about, you asked about the work that's been done on the platform. And what you have in here in the middle is some of the capabilities and services that we have. I won't spend time on that today. Go to the website, wavelo.com, plug for our marketing folks. Check it out if you have questions. I'm happy to answer it. But the team has made tremendous progress on these features. And when we do that, we capitalize labor. We shared that we capitalized 16 million in labor in 2022. As the team shifts to bug fixes, migrating subscribers, ramping up on new projects, we'll capitalize less labor. We look at this as kind of a function of the work. And as Elliot will often say, take your pain up front. We do that at 2 Cows. We want to capitalize what the accountants kind of make us capitalize. But as kind of guidance for 22 or for 23, we'll capitalize 40 to 50% less labor in 23 than we did in 22 as that work shifts. Now, all of that goes in and kind of creates these wonderful products and services that we have, and then helps us grow revenue per FTE. I love that Dave put his margin per FTE in the slide when he knew I was going to show revenue per FTE, but we'll catch up at some point. So 140,000 roughly revenue per FTE in Q1. We expect this to ramp up as as the migrations finish and you start to get a full quarter view of the business after migrations are done. And we expect that to kind of ramp up in range of software companies north of 20 million ARR. So we think that will look better as we're done with migrations. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about pipeline and then I'll wrap. I'm not going to reveal any new logos here today, so everyone take a deep breath. But I do want to talk a bit about the types of personas that we're talking to and the types of customers. So the first is Prospect A, an ISP, mid-size, rapidly growing, operating in 14 U.S. states. Think about them operating in 14 U.S. states. Think about this similar to Ting. They have grown through acquisition, and they've got three big problems. The first is they've got billing systems all over the United States, and they need to consolidate them, and they're looking at kind of ways to do that and really struggling to find a provider that can help them do that as fast as they want to move. The second thing is they want to make more acquisitions, and they want to have a billing and provisioning system that helps them as a feature of their acquisitions. And the third thing is they want to launch things like mobile and fixed wireless, and they don't want to kind of buy another system to do that. So encouraging conversations here, and excited to keep talking with them. The second thing here is ISP plus mobile. This is more greenfield than kind of Prospect A, working in West Virginia. We love their mission, focusing on underserved communities. They want to be purpose-built to launch fixed wireless, mobile, and fiber all at the same time. So when they're looking at doing that, they're looking at buying a myriad or a smorgasbord of systems, and that's just it's just cost prohibitive for them given how much capital they want to put into the ground. And so they're excited to talk to us to be nimble for the future and kind of future-proof their business from day one. The third is a tier 2 U.S. wireless provider serving millions of customers across the U.S. They have built an amazing business, but they've done it by building their own software, and is now hitting a point where they have too many folks on the platform, and they can't scale their B2C business, but more importantly to them, because they think they're generally at the kind of market share they're going to get to on B2C, they're really struggling to launch B2B and IoT. And so they want a provider to come in, help them with B2B and IoT, and then slowly eat the B2C platform over time, so that at the end of it, they get to kind of a platform that builds and provisions across all of these customer types. And like lots of the prospects we talk to, it's about getting marketing offers into the market as fast as possible. Later in the year, we don't have it today, but we're going to put out a couple customer case studies. And one of the things you'll see in there is just A/B tested against some of the legacy systems in market, how fast we're getting offers and SKUs to market. Certainly, it would be better in telecom if folks acted like Ting, but I don't have the liberty of just having Ting as my customer. I have to work with everyone, and so we know there's going to be lots of SKU bloat and lots of new offers coming in, and we got to be really great at getting that to market in hours, not months. Last slide. Wanted to break this down a bit in kind of opportunities by need and opportunities by segment. So on the left-hand side, this breaks it kind of in these general categories for OSS, BSS, orchestrate, provisioning, and billing, where you see the Wavelo logo. The marketing team agonized over how to put this graph together, so please like this graph, and I'll let them know that they did a great job. The concentration is really, kind of billing and provisioning, a bit of orchestration, but not as much on straightaway provisioning or straightaway orchestration. When we build this business, I've had this problem in starting software businesses before. You can get out over your skis trying to be everything to everyone. And we want to be really focused on what we're great at and say no to opportunities that we're not, that don't fit what we're building and what we think is most important for the future. So that's the concentration. Expect us to, kind of do business with folks that need those things. And then on this side, you've got B2B and consumer on the bottom axis, and ISP and mobile. This kind of shows you the concentration of the conversations we're having now. a bit of ISP, fixed wireless, add some mobile. And then on the mobile side, we're seeing B2B with, kind of B2C following later in the relationship.
Okay. Thank you, Justin.
Thanks, everyone.